Yes, first off, I'd like to say hi to everybody. I hope everybody's doing well during this pandemic that we're going through. This is a very unique time for everybody. I hope everybody's safe. Now, to talk about Kevin Dotson a little bit, watching him on tape, he's a really big man with great length and a very good athlete. And what really shows up on his tape, he is a people mover. Really like that showing up on his tape. This guy can move. He can do all the stuff we were looking for. Second level stuff, all that's good. And he's the type of guy. Like when you look at that old school run game stuff, like back in the day when he run through guys, this really flashes on his tape, and that was the stuff that really jumped out at us when we first started watching this guy. Really liked him. Really liked the stuff off the field as well. Talked to some people, some coaches and some different people, and nobody ever had anything bad to say about this kid, nothing but ravings about him. I know he's a 52-game starter, so that shows you the durability this guy has. From that, he's a self-made guy that's just looking for the next step. First team All-American all across the board and all that in college, and we're looking forward to getting him in a Steeler uniform and get him rolling.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions. The first question will come from Jenna Harner from Channel 11. Jenna, go ahead.
Hey there, you kind of just touched on it a little bit, but how excited are you guys to bring in a guy like Dotson to kind of fill holes that you might need?
Like you just said, it fills one of our needs. He's going to come in, he's going to compete for the spot, and it's the kind of guy we like. He's got all the intangibles, and I think he's going to be a really good fit for our room. And just what I've heard so far about the guy, I think it should be a good fit for us.
Okay, next question comes from Will Graves from the Associated Press. Will, go ahead.
Shaun, I'm just curious. You talk about his skill. I mean, he's playing against guys that it's going to be obviously at a much higher level at this level. What did you see that sort of translates, even though he wasn't necessarily playing against guys that were his equal in college?
We look at that on the tape, as you watch that, but he was also in an all-star game at the East-West Shrine, which, he played against guys at a higher level, but, I still thought he dominated those guys. There was times where he flashes as a true dominator on the offensive line, and, I go back to saying he's a people mover. When you watch this guy, he runs through people now, and he can move them off the point of attack, and, when you see that on college film, it just grabs your eye. And that's something we take into account here.
Okay, next question comes from Mike Pursuta from WDVE. Mike, go ahead.
Shaun, you mentioned compete for the spot. You think that's a realistic option for you at left guard?
Yes, when it gets down to it, it brings flexibility to the room, gives us options, and at the end of the day, the best five will start. But, I think this guy is realistically that guy that can go in and compete for the spot.
Okay, next question, Tim Benz from the Tribune Review. Tim, go ahead.
Shaun, we were talking to Kevin about his background in terms of playing various positions. Said he got to Louisiana as a tackle, played both, then guard. If he is to be versatile for you guys and play multi-positions, is he more likely to learn center, or do you find him more likely to be a guy that can go back to his old skills to tackle?
That's a great question. In my mind right now, I see him as an interior player, and we'll start him to teach him the center thing. But some guys, if they can't do it, he still brings the value of being able to go back out to tackle. So, very similar to some guys we have on the roster now, they can go inside and play guard and then go back out and play tackle, which, like I said, that flexibility is great for us.
All right, next one, Hunter, DK Pittsburgh Sports. Hunter, go ahead.
Hey, Shaun, Kevin was just telling us that his family were big Steelers fans, and he's also a big Steelers fan. Did you sense some extra excitement from him on that front? Were you even aware of that coming in?
We had one of our coaches, Blaine Stewart, was at the Shrine Bowl, and when he came back, he kind of mentioned that to me personally. And I got my notes here in front of him. I know his uncles played in the NFL as well, but that was something that was said, and that just goes in the process too. I'm happy for him. He's getting to play for his lifelong team that he's loved and grew up watching.
Okay, next, Jeff Hathorn at 93.7. Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Shaun, it seems like from a personality standpoint, he'll be a good fit for your room. What do you know about him from that standpoint? And he also told us that he would trash talk by telling the opponents the plays and then running it. Would you be cool with that?
As long as that play's successful, I'll be cool with it, no problem. But just what I've heard about this kid. There's nothing negative. Coach Dunbar's son actually played there as well, and he works in the weight room. And I spoke with him, and he raved about him as well. There was no negative things. I kept trying to find something negative about the kid, and I couldn't find it. Talking with people, talking with coaches, and so forth. And I've got a lot of texts already from coaches around the league and said that was a great pick by us by taking this guy.
Okay, next up, Jim Wexel, 247. Jim, go ahead.
Okay, Shaun, please explain to me how a first-team All-American with 33-inch arms, 6'4", 310, doesn't get invited to the Combine. What was the problem? Did you look into it?
I didn't really look into that as much as after hearing it and then after watching the tape. That stuff really doesn't matter to me. I knew once I watched the tape, this guy was on our list. I really liked this guy. The first game I watched him, he popped on film, and then from there I continued to watch more film, and it just got better and better. I really didn't take into that account about the Combine. If he's a good player out there, I hope the Steelers did a great job of identifying him in the scouting department, and they got him to me, and I watched him, and I agree with him.
Okay, Brooke Pryor from ESPN.com. Brooke, go ahead with your question.
Hey, Shaun, apparently there was a scouting report out there that said that Kevin would move people like a pissed-off bouncer, and then he said that he actually was a bouncer. I mean, do you see him having that edge that makes so many offensive linemen so good when they're in the game?
It shows up on his tape, he does. He's a guy that will finish you. And, just like you guys have already asked me about his trash talk, I had heard a little bit about that, and that's just part of the game. I mean, those guys are going to do that anyway. I think that's just the fierce competitor. And something else, I really like about him is his passion for the game. It just seems like he's a football guy. And as many more of those guys I can get in my room, I'll take them. A football guy who's going to live, sleep, and breathe football.
Okay, last question for Shaun comes from Brian Batko from the Post-Gazette. Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, Shaun, you mentioned that you didn't really look into too much why he wasn't, why he was snubbed from the Combine or whatever, but I know Kevin was also one of those prospects who filmed one of those personal pro days and put it out there on social media. Did you guys look at that? And if not, I guess, how did you kind of figure out just trying to get the athletic testing and measurements and stuff like that on a player that you really liked?
That kind of thing, you want to look at, there's tons of videos that I get in my email during this whole process. And he was another video that showed up in my process of him working out. And, you could just see the athletic ability in him moving around and how it transfers to the field. A lot of these guys, you'll see some guy may go out and run a good 40 time, but that's not going to transfer to the field. And, when you watch his tape, you can tell this guy's athletic. This guy does all the stuff we need him to do.